Welcome to Chapter 8. So we're getting into the final chunk of this course. We're going to be finishing off with a chapter on logic and a chapter on proofs, which is really fun. So of course, logic is going to build into proofs because how can you prove something without logic? Logic is fun to talk about to me, right? Because it's both useful in a day-to-day standpoint as a human being. Ideally, you are using logic as you are going about your day, but also in the computer science context, right? If you're thinking of coding or if you're thinking of, kind of doing anything with computer science, you work with computational logic. And the more, that's organized the same way as we are organized, just maybe sometimes a little bit more precise. So that's what we're doing over here. A lot of the stuff in both of these chapters, chapter 8 and chapter 9, if you've taken a symbolic logic class, they might be a review. So that's great. Feel free to review. You can change the speed of the videos. You can kind of mix and match however you prefer. If this is new stuff for you, then we'll fully explain everything here as well. So you should be good to go. Finally we're mostly going to talk about propositional and predicate logic in this chapter. There are other kind of ways of talking about logic, but those are the two things that we're going to do. And we're starting with propositional logic. Okay, so here's where we're going to introduce it. It's kind of the less powerful and a little simpler of the two kinds. Predicate logic is a little bit more interesting to me anyway. We'll talk about that later on in the chapter. So let's just start with the question, what's a proposition? So all a proposition is it's just a statement with a truth value. Okay. So that's it. That when we say propositional logic, we're talking about logic that involves propositions. What are propositions? They're just statements with a truth value. So if we look at some things over here, which one of these are propositions? Which one of these are statements with truth values? I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. That's a statement, right? Does it have a truth value? Yes, it does. I am wearing a long sleeve shirt. So this is a proposition. It happens to be false, but it is a proposition. Okay, it has the value of false. The sun is out today. Well, as I'm recording this video, that's a statement and it has a truth value. So it's a proposition. It just so happens to be true as well. Go do the dishes. That's not a statement, right? And there's no truth value. So this is not a proposition, right? And so on. You can go through all of these. And again, we're going to be dealing with binary truth values. It's either true or it's not true. Some of these are like a little bit more wishy-washy, I guess. It's warm. I don't know. I'm going to say it's a statement with a truth value. But, some of these are relative. We're going to be modeling a lot of these as binary. It's not warm for me right now. Do you like potatoes? That's not a statement. There is a truth value, right? In a sense, right? You either will or won't like potatoes. But that's not really what we're talking about here. And that's not really a truth value anyway. Remember, proposition is a statement with a truth value. And yes or no is kind of binary, but not exactly true or false. Saying, right, we could adjust this to not be a question and say, you like potatoes. Now that's a proposition. Which is funny because when we say propositions, a lot of time we mean something a little different in English. All right, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. That's, statement with the truth value. It happens to be true right now. There aren't many clouds today. Also statement. And also true at the moment for me. Okay, so that's basically what propositions are. In this section on propositional logic, we're going to talk about what are some of the things that we can do with these propositions. Namely, we're going to connect them with some operators. So, we've talked about operators before. You add 2 and 3. This is an operator. It's a binary operator. It connects 2 values and it uses those 2 values and combines them in a way to make a new value. All right, that's a binary operator. That's an operator. Let's say that we're looking at two different sets, and we're looking at the intersection of those two sets. This is also a binary operator. It's an operator that takes two sets and does something with them to make a new set. All right, and this new set, of course, is just the things that all the set of, you know, all the things that are shared between these two things. So that's all we're doing here is we're just going to take propositions, combine them with operators, and we'll get new propositions. So that's what we're doing in the next video. So the next video is going to introduce proposition or operators like and or, and XOR, and the negation, not, implication, equivalence, and all stuff like that. So this is what we're doing in the next video. And yeah, later on in this chapter, we're going to end up getting into predicate logic, and eventually we'll move on to proofs. That's where we are. Strap yourselves in. Should be a good time. Bye-bye.